Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Tharshey and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are here with the ultimate Total War Attila campaign guide. So in today's video we're going to be covering absolutely everything you need to know about Attila and about Total War Attila campaigns. I'm going to be going through things such as public order, sanitation, food, generals, loyalty, assassinations, family trees, promoting family members to different offices, things like diplomacy, things like research, your campaign objectives, faction objectives, building chains for your different cities. I'm going to be going through absolutely everything you need to know. Talker, you mention it and I'm going to be covering it, okay? That's basically what this video is about. However, we're not going to be doing a deep dive on each specific mechanic because, again, we're going to be covering so much of information and so many different mechanics and so many different things in the campaign that there's not going to be enough time to go and do an absolute deep dive on each specific thing. So if you want to see me do a deep dive on a specific mechanic or a specific thing, for example, if you want to do a deep dive on diplomacy or a deep dive on family trees or a deep dive on building chains for your cities or something like that, let me know in the comment section and I will make a specific video just focused on and covering that topic. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video, and if you do, please do drop a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and if tell us post notifications. Anyways, let's get straight into it. Okay guys, so the amount of content we need to cover in this video is actually astounding. I'm going to start off by going over the UI and what all the different buttons and things that you see on your screen actually are. From there, we will move over to specific mechanics and, all that good stuff. So to start off, if you look at the top middle of your screen, you're going to see this UI at the top. Now, this tells you a couple things. First up, you have your treasury. This is how much of money you currently have available to you. Next up, you have your predicted income. This is your total income minus your total expenses, and it shows you how much you're actually going to earn after that. Next up, you have your total food for your faction. So remember, this 720 that you're seeing now, it's just showing you the total food across your entire faction. In Attila, food is important via region, via each specific grouping of 3 cities that you have. So this is just more a general overview that tells you whether your faction as a whole is starving or not. In the middle, you have your clock. This tells you whether it's summer, winter, autumn, spring, etc. Next up, you have the year. So as you can see, it's 404 AD. Next up, you have your faction traits, so it shows you all of them here lined up. You can also see this by going to your faction into summary, but you can see it here if you don't want to do, the extra clicks. Now, on the right side, you have all your important informational stuff. This is going to be the things that you look at to know and to manage your faction and manage your cities and your armies, etc. So first up, you have event messages. So this is just telling you everything that happened during the end turn. So when you click end turn, and whatever happens with the AI, whatever they do, this is going to tell you. So, for example, this is going to tell me, that I demolished certain structures. This is going to tell me war coordination target was lost. Unseasonal conditions have occurred. Households, ranks that have been gained, just all the important information is going to come over here via your event messages. Next to it, you have your forces. So this is going to show you all the different armies and fleets that you have. So if I click over here, it's going to take me over to my agent that I have over here. If I click here, it's going to take me to my fleet. If I click here, it's going to take me to each of my different armies. And it also shows you your integrity. It shows you the amount of men. So for example, you can see this army has 2,823 men. It shows you the integrity of the army. This army is a bit low on integrity actually, but it's fine. That will go up over time. This also shows you what is this? Yeah, action points. So this shows you the amount of stamina the army has left. So for example, this army is full, which means I have all my movement and stuff available. These 3 armies or these 4 armies currently are out of action points, so they can't move or do anything this turn. Next to it, you have your provinces. This is going to show you all your provinces managed one by one. So as you can see, it's going to show me Italia, Liguria, Magna Graecia, Venetia, Insula, Cadilant, I cannot pronounce that, Macedonia, etc. And what it shows you next to it is the food. So if it's green, that means you're positive on food. Red means you're negative on food. This is going to show public order. Red is negative public order. Yellow is neutral. Green is good. And it shows a little arrow next to it to tell you whether public order is going up or down. As you can see, most of it is going up. Some of them are going down. And then the final bit of information here is how much each province is producing. So 3,315 gold per turn from the province of Italia. A province is made up of 3 cities. So for Italia is Roma, Florentia, and Neapolis. So that is what this province tab is for. This is the faction tab. This gives you an overview of all your factions. So it shows you, what each faction is. So Africa, Elements, the Allens, these are all the discovered factions you currently have. It shows you whether you're trading with them, which is the symbol over here. This shows you your alliances. So this is a defensive ally. Those guys I'm at war with. Military allies, defensive allies, etc. And then it shows you the faction's happiness or unhappiness towards you. So Africa hates me. The Elements, the Allens, the Angles, and the Britain, they all have a positive view of me. Burgundians are neutral, etc. So yeah, those are your 4 very important informational tabs. You're going to be using that to, basically get an overview of everything that's happening in your campaign and, make use of that to manage your empire. Next up, we have the 4 buttons along the bottom here, plus the big middle faction button. So we're going to start off with the faction button and go through everything there. Then we're going to come back and have a look at the rest. So if you click faction, it's going to take you over to your family tree. Next up, you're going to have your summary. This is a summary of your faction as a whole. Records, which is basically history of what you've been up to, what you've been doing. As you can see, it's basically the event feed, but it goes all the way back to the start of your campaign pretty much. Next up, you have stats. This is just things that you have done in this campaign so far. So total settlements captured, resources, factions encountered, income, all of that good stuff is over here. Now, for your other 4 buttons, we have objectives. This is your campaign objective. This is going to tell you, what to do for your campaign to achieve victory. So chapter 2, currently, I literally just need to survive until that date. Then, or by a year, we need to be at war with so many factions, forge defensive alliance, whatever. These are just chapters to tell you what to do. If you look at victory objectives, though, this will show you your overall campaign objectives to win the campaign. So to achieve a minor victory, these are the objectives you need to get. You need to maintain so many units, produce the following amount of wealth, so produce 30,000 gold in total from all your buildings, research X amount of technologies, have control of these provinces, so Dardania, Dalmatia, Pannonia. Currently, I don't have control of any of them, so we're going to have to go take them over or get control of them through military allies, tributary states, etc. So yeah, this is the objectives for a minor victory. If I want a cultural victory, this is what I need to get to achieve a cultural victory. If I want a military victory, this is what I need to do to achieve a military victory. And if you want a divine triumph, this is what you have to do that. Divine triumph is basically the grand total of all the other objectives combined into one. So yeah, if you achieve this, you basically won your campaign fully. Next up, we're going to have our trade and finance tab. So trade and finance, this is a very important tab. This is going to tell you exactly, this is going to give you a complete breakdown of your finances in your campaign. So you can change your tax level here as well. Change it to minimal, change it to normal, change it to very high. And when you change it, you can see your taxes increasing or decreasing. For example, on minimum taxes, I'm going to make negative money every turn, but you can look at the effects of that. It's going to be positive growth and public or no negative public order. If I go to maximum taxes, I'm going to make 10,000 a turn, but I'm going to be getting minus 25 public order, minus 3 growth. But it is going to decrease immigration, so that's pretty helpful. But yeah, we're just going to keep that on normal for now, which is, a good enough tax level for me. It's going to be slight public order penalties, but it's not too bad. Now, the actual breakdown of your income is here. So you can see your taxes, your immigrant population, that's immigrants that come in, they're going to provide you with cash, your money you make from trade and other. Other is basically, any tributary states, any money coming in from diplomacy, like giving you money for an alliance, etc., etc. And then your total income over here. And this is going to be your expenditure. So as you can see, most of my money is going to army upkeep, some is going to navy upkeep, and maintenance is basically money that is spent to maintain buildings. For example, certain buildings like your churches and stuff, they're going to cost you maybe 200, 600, 1,000 gold per ton to actually maintain that. And that's going to give you a total expenditure. And then it's going to give you your total income next turn, which will be obviously income minus expenditure. Another thing that the trade and finance tab shows you is your lowest predicted public order for the next turn. So this is very helpful because this will show you which province is going to have the lowest public order. For example, I know it's going to be Liguria, and if I click on it, it'll zoom me over to the location. So now I know, okay, this province is going to have the lowest public order, so I can try and sort it out. If we go back to the tab and we click over here, this will show you a history of your trade partners. So you can see who you're trading with. For example, Western Roman Separatists, I'm trading with the Franks, I'm trading with the Elements. It shows you what you're trading, so timber, gemstones, iron, for wine, salt, olive oil, etc. And you can go and you can click here and you can go through all of that. So it will just show you all the different trade partners you have, shows you what you're producing. So I'm producing olive oil, I'm producing salt and wine, and I'm importing wine, I'm importing iron, I'm importing gemstones, I'm importing timber, and I'm also importing lead. Next up, you have a summary. This again is just a simple summary of your entirety of your taxes and your income and your, all your expenditure and your money coming in and out. So have a look at it. You can see taxes over here. You can see trade over here. You can see military. So this will show you. So if I loot a city or something, or if I'm raiding a foreign land and I'm making money from raiding, all of that will show over here. Same for diplomacy. Any puppet states or tributaries that I have that are paying me money will show up over here. Other as well, and then for your expenditure, it shows you, unit upkeep, fleet upkeep, diplomacy. This is if I'm a tributary and I'm paying my overlord, anything. Expenses over here, so I'm spending money on construction, building maintenance, recruitment, any agent actions, etc. So this is a very good tab. You come over here and you will have a complete breakdown of everything you need to know about the finances of your empire. Next up, we're going to go to the technology tree. So this is going to be all your research for your campaign. It's divided into two sections, military and civil. Military is stuff that are going to upgrade your units, unlock new military buildings, etc. So as you can see, you can go all the way up here to unified military at the end, which will eventually unlock the best possible general option for my faction. But yeah, some technologies, they do cost money. For example, this one, it costs 2,500 to do, and it will usually be any technology that costs money is usually just one turn. So you pay the cash, but you only have to wait one turn rather than waiting, for example, 12 turns for there or whatever. Same for your civil. Civil is just basically all the buildings and stuff that you can research to unlock for building up your cities and making them more prosperous, increasing your gold outputs, your food, all of that good stuff. It ends up right over there at the end. This is pretty nice, reduces corruption, increases tax rate, etc. Another thing that's important to see is if you hover over any technology, you can see your current research rate. So for example, you can see that my research rate is 106%. Now this may change between military and civic because there are stuff that increases military research, there are stuff that only increases civilian research. So if I click over here, you can see, yep, I have 109% on the military research. I only have 106% on the civil research. So that's just something that you can have a look at. Also, another thing that you may not notice is you may see this, right? As you can see, there's that little green icon at the bottom right of each tab. Bottom right there, bottom right, bottom right. What this basically does is when you've researched everything within this grouping, it activates this as a bonus. So for example, this one, military one, recruitment costs -5% for non-mercenary units. So basically all my recruitment, so long as it's not mercenaries, is going to be 5% cheaper. For here, as you can see for civil, I do not have it unlocked, and that's because I need to finish this research. Once I finish that, I will get this civil one, public order +1 from bureaucratic reforms. Now, obviously, this is just a nice little bonus to finishing your research for a specific group, but it does add up. Look at this. Integrity +2, campaign movement range +10%, recruitment capacity +1, campaign movement range +8% for all forces. So this is pretty nice. It adds up to basically +18% extra movement, extra recruitment, all of that good stuff. And same for your civil stuff. It gives you more food, gives you more wealth, more sanitation. That's all very, very nice to have. So yeah, that is going to be your technology tab. Next up, we're going to go over to diplomacy. Now, diplomacy, this is a massive tab. This has a whole lot of stuff that you're going to need to know. So as you can see, I can see the entire world map, or at least everything that I've unlocked. I mean, I can still see the other stuff, like I can see Libya, but I don't know who owns this because I don't have, any information on the area. But yeah, this is going to show me everything. And the most important part of this is it's going to give you a whole lot of filter options. So you can, first of all, toggle your geographic mode over here. you know, whether you want to see it like terrain wise, or whether you just want to see the, you know, the ownership. I prefer ownership, so that's what I'm going to leave mine at. Now at the top, you're going to have a bunch of different filters. This will show you all the different armies running around. So if you zoom in, you know, there we go. I can see all the armies that I have. I can see allied armies, which are the ones with the blue around it. Neutral armies have white, and any enemy armies like this Western Roman army have red. Now you can keep toggling stuff. So this will be an agent filter. Are there any agents around here? Actually, there's really not that many agents around. Yeah, I literally don't see any, except for my own agent over there. But yeah, that's going to be an agent filter. So this will show any agents you have running around the place. This will be your settlement filter. It'll show all the different settlements. Again, you can zoom out, zoom in, and it'll show allied or enemy. For example, Macedonia and Dacia, both of them are enemy, as you can see by the red circle. You know, yellow are my own, and blue are any allies I have. White is neutral. Then over here you have siege filter. So I don't think anything is on. Oh, this is actually under siege right now. So this will show you basically any cities that are currently under siege that you have view on. It will show up over there. This is your resource filter. This shows cities and what resources they produce. For example, there's lead production there, gold production, iron over there, there's some salt over there, dyes up there. So yeah, you can come to this tab and it gives you a lot of information. This is different views for the map. So this is faction ownership. So it shows you, you know, basically highlights the map. So this is everything I own. This is all Western Roman ownership, Vandals. This is all the elements. This is Jutes, Saxons, etc. You have diplomatic status, so this shows you basically red for enemies, yellow is yourself, blue for allies, and then white I think is neutral. What is this? This looks like a light blue. I think that just means I have like a non-aggression pact with them, etc. Attitude, this shows you if people like or hate you. So everyone here pretty much likes me. Everyone here pretty much hates me. Yeah, you have region wealth, so it just shows you how much of cash things are producing. As you can see, this bright yellow means making a lot of money from Ravenna. Everywhere else, not so much. These places kind of making me no money, but yeah, we're gonna up that, you know. This shows public order. Yeah, lots of negative public order everywhere, but you know, we're gonna increase that. This shows you your growth, so everything here is growing pretty good. As you can see, growth rate 94%, 100%. That's pretty nice. This shows you religion, so if you hover over it, it will show you a breakdown. You can also see your religious breakdown, not per region though, but you can see it in the faction summary tab. But this shows you per region, so you can see that, yeah, it's Latin Christianity, yeah, it's Aryan Christianity, you know, all of that stuff. This shows you sanitation, so some poor sanitation over here, as you can see by the red. If you hover over to give you a breakdown, current sanitation 5, current squalor 7, total sanitation is -2. Positive sanitation obviously is in green. This shows you your immigrants, so yeah, you can see this. We have a lot of immigration actually. This shows you your food. So yeah, okay, everything here is okay. Production is it's slightly negative, but it's, so don't worry, you know, we're gonna fix that. Over here we have nice positive food production, and then over here you have fertility. This shows you the fertility levels of all the land around you. So green obviously is base fertility of 5, light green is 4. Wait, can I find a 3 anywhere? There we go. That like yellowish. All right, there we go. Yeah, this little like yellowish color is a 3. This is also a 3, but you know why it's red? It's because it's been raised and it's been -1 from climate, so the fertility is at 1 currently over there. Same, fertility is at 1 over there. Yeah, fertility is at 3. Fertility is at 2. So yeah, you can just have a look at all the fertility levels, etc. Now, let's go over to the actual diplomacy tab over here. So obviously this, you've already kind of seen this stuff before, but this is all your factions. This is the strength rank. You can sort by strength rank as well. Let me just switch back to diplomatic status. No, faction ownership, yeah, that's fine. You can sort by strength rank over here. So strength rank 1, strength rank 4, 5, 6, and strength rank is just you know, basically an overview of how strong that faction is. As you can see, some are missing. Say Whiting West 2 and 3. That's just because I haven't discovered those factions yet. Once I discovered the faction, they will show up over here and they will be included in the ranking. This also shows how many regions each faction owns. So you can sort by This will show you obviously ward factions. So ward factions are factions without any regions because they haven't settled down. Then you can see factions with 1 region, 2, 3, all the way up to who has the most, probably Western Rome. Yeah, Western Rome with the most, Eastern Rome second. This will show you your treaties. So you can sort by your treaties. Shows you who you're at war with, who you've got military alliances, defensive alliances, military access, non-aggression pacts, all of that stuff. This is trade. You can sort by trade. So factions available to trade. Oh, I could actually trade with the Allens probably. Wait, where are they? Oh, they're over there. I'm not really going to go take over them at some point. But we could trade with them until that point. And then, yeah, you have your attitude, shows you the attitude of all the different nations against you. So let's filter it the other way, sorry. And yeah, everyone who is currently greed. Now, if we click on any nation, we can go into diplomacy. So let's initiate diplomacy. This shows you all the different stuff that you can do. Make tributary state, join war against. So yeah, I can demand they join my war against Dacia, Eastern Rome, etc. I can ask I could declare war, cancel any of the current alliances. Yeah, I can ask them to break defensive alliance, or I can offer to break my defensive alliance with someone. So obviously with someone they hate, they're going to be happy with that. You can also, for example, let's just go over here. You can ask them for money, tell them, yeah, will give me so much of money. Remember, you can also type out your money, so you can type a specific amount if you want. Put that through. And damn, they actually like me quite a lot. They're willing to give me that money as a gift pretty much. But yeah, that is basically your diplomacy tab. Not too much else you need to know here, but the only other thing is obviously the overview of each faction. So if you click on any faction here, it'll show you, their traits, so strength, rank, whether they're reliable or not. Reliability is basically just based on whether they honor treaties or whether they break them. Diplomat, all of this stuff. And then over here, this is the more important part. So this shows you anyone they're trading with, anyone they're at war with, anyone they have as military allies or defensive allies, as well as any trade goods. So if we click on, let's have a look at the Huns probably, because they'll probably have a whole lot of enemies. The Huns, oh, actually, they're not too many, but yeah, you can see them. They're at war with Western Rome, the Venedians, Quadians, Baskia, and the Roman separatists. It does show, remember, factions that you haven't discovered. It does show under the enemy thing. Western Rome, oh my god, they're at war with basically half the world. Don't have that many trade goods either. Eastern Rome also at war with like half the world, including some factions we haven't discovered: Judea, Parthia, Macron, Atropatene, etc. So yeah, that is basically everything you need to know about this tab. There is one more thing. This is an important thing, and for this we're going to go military force filter and show. And this is because this is war coordination. So what war coordination is, and this is probably something a lot of people don't know about, is it allows you to set a target for attack for your allies to attack. So for example, I can then say this guy, Western Rome, this army here that is led by whoever this general is, I just put a war coordination target. Flavius, Eutychianus, Legio, Dati, Alpia, Victrix, Western Roman Empire, whatever. Now what this means is any of my allies that I have, right? Any of my military allies, even my defensive allies, if they're in the war with me, etc. The AI will prioritizing attacking this target. So you can basically tell your allies who to attack or where to go, which is so underrated a feature, and so many people don't know it exists, but it is so good. I mean, yeah, true, the AI may not do it, but it is there. It is an option. It allows you to have some sort of control or direction towards your AI allies, so they don't just run around and do nothing. And I have found that it does seem to work pretty well. I've designated specific armies or specific factions, for my allies to attack, and I'll see my allies sending armies over to go and absolutely wreck those guys. So yeah, this is the button you click to set your war coordination target. This clears the target, so it removes it. And let me go back to my force filter. Click it again. This will zoom you to your target. So if I'm over here, right, you can click that and it will just zoom you over. For now, I'm going to clear target because I don't really want my allies to go chasing Western Rome at the moment when they're not a threat to me, especially with the Huns right there. But yeah, let's cancel and go out of that tab. So we have only been going through tabs this entire time. There's a few, yeah, this is your menu and your encyclopedia. Encyclopedia is just a whole bunch of info on the game. But yeah, we've done enough of that. Let's have a look at your faction tab, and we're going to go through, first of all, we're going to go through the family trees. We're going to go through the the actions each family member can take. Then we'll go through the promoting of, well, not even family members, but promoting of faction members to different offices. So if you click faction, you can see your family tree. So this is my family tree, right? And this gives me a bunch of information. One is it obviously shows my mother and father. It shows, well, the arrows show any children. So they had a daughter, Viterat, that's my sister. They had me, which is Vitaricus. I'm the king of the faction. And the red line shows a illegitimate child, okay? So they had an illegitimate son, Egika. I'm slaughtering his name. And then obviously this shows his wife. So he married Rodelinda, and it shows the faction that she came from. So he married Rodelinda from the Visigoths. So yeah, that's basically how your faction, your family tree works. This here shows you my heir to the throne. So this is Widimir, my son and heir. This shows you we had a daughter as well, Sinilda. Egika and his wife had a daughter. Gelimir and Viterat, they had two legitimate kids, a daughter and a son, and they also had an illegitimate son as well over there. Now, over at the top, you can see a couple things: control, power, and dominion. If you hover over dominion, it will show you dominion is basically the influence you have, so your leader and your family as a whole have over your faction, right? So your power over the people determined by total influence of your family members versus that of non-family members. Combined with control, it defines your family's overall power. Current dominion is 67%, 629 total influence. So that is basically the influence of all the members over here on this family tree compared to all the members over here not on the family tree. If you look at power, power is respectable currently at 55%. And depending on what your power is, you get certain buffs or debuffs. So if I become extremely powerful, like if my power becomes absolute, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So this will give me a couple buffs, a couple debuffs. So the buffs will be integrity across all my forces, aka all my armies will have very high integrity because of how powerful I am. My tax rate will go up. However, it will make the loyalty of all my generals go down. So they will be less loyal because of, me basically being a bit of a tyrant. Public order will go down everywhere. Growth will go down everywhere. And this changes depending on the level of your power. So absolute, dominant, as you can see, slightly less integrity and tax rate, but there's a less penalty when it comes to your loyalty, growth, public order. So yeah, you can just go and check yourself what each bonus and debuff that you get from each level of power is. Balance power +2 loyalty, tax rate -1%. Yeah, public order -1, integrity +1, loyalty +1. It's probably actually respectable. Is probably a good place to be. Any more than that, and you're starting to get negative growth, and your negative public order is also going up by quite a lot. If you are obviously too weak, though, so power is acceptable. If you're super weak, it's going to increase public order. People are happy that you're a weakling, Public order +7, a lot of growth, but your forces are going to have much lower integrity. Loyalty is going to be low, and tax rate is going to be low because people are not scared of you. They're not going to pay taxes. Your generals aren't going to be loyal to a weakling, and your forces aren't going to have very high integrity with you being as weak as you are. Control is the next thing you need to look at. Control is a measure of the mastery of politics. So basically, it fluctuates as your family members engage in different things. For example, if my general tries to secure loyalty of someone, it will come up with an event and say, your general wasn't successful. However, you can decree this royal decree. It will cost influence for my general, or I could make it, the other guy that I'm trying to do it with. So, for example, let's say Skelemar, it will use his influence. Or you could just choose to do nothing. If you do nothing, though, you lose control. My current control is 44%, which is 528 of the 1,200 tribal chiefs. Now, if you look at each person in your faction or each person on the family tree, even your generals there, they all have different intrigues. By intrigues, basically, it's actions that they can take. So if I click on my general, you can see that, so he is got 259 influence. He's a general, Macedonia, High King, whatever. Now, intrigue is a whole lot of political actions that I can do. I can assassinate someone, whether I want to assassinate my brother, or technically my brother-in-law. I could assassinate my sister. I could assassinate my own wife. I could assassinate the illegitimate son because, he's illegitimate. Why would I want him? Assassinate his wife. I could assassinate one of my generals. Yeah. So you have the choice here to go around assassinating your own family members. Why would you want to do that? Well, obviously, if someone's loyalty is very low, for example, hold up. this governor here has extremely low loyalty. It may just be better for me to kill him. If I just kill him, I don't have to worry about him defecting, and starting a civil war because, well, he's dead. So yeah, you can assassinate people. You can also secure loyalty. So this will allow me to go and try and secure the loyalty of, what is this guy's name? Trapstilla? But yeah, I could click over here like that, and it will allow me to try and secure his loyalty. Let me just exit that. You have other stuff here, so you diminish popularity, so I can reduce the popularity of other people. Remember, any of these actions I take can be successful. Then again, it may also not be successful. So that is something you do have to take into account. Over here, you can choose to adopt a child, so you can try and adopt people. I can adopt one of these generals. Oh wow, this guy is 10 out of 10, my admiral. 10 out of 10 loyalty. Oh, even this general, yeah, 10 out of 10 loyalty. We can adopt one of them into my family. Obviously, by doing this, as you can see, it will increase the loyalty of the person you adopt, but it decreases that of your current adult sons. I don't have any adult sons, so I could literally adopt someone like this dude into my family. It will increase his loyalty, and it won't have an adverse effect at the moment, as I don't have any adult children myself. You also have divorce. I could divorce my wife. I embezzle funds, so this is basically corruption. Then you have gather support. This will allow me to gather support for myself. And remember, the reason you do all of this is because this is a very volatile political situation. By doing all these actions, whether it's for my general, whether it's for my brothers, etc. Also, this action here, it allows me to change the heir to the throne from my son to one of my brothers. But yeah, all of these actions that you partake in, all of these things that you can do, like gathering support, whatever, it all affects your dominion, it all affects your control. Dominion and control together affect your power. Power gives you buffs. Right now, it's actually, I should probably drop my power. Tax rate minus 1%, I don't really care about, but I do care about the loyalty more. So I could actually try and drop power slightly just to be able to get that, but yeah. Control and dominion together form your power. Power gives you buffs or debuffs depending on how strong or how weak you are. So yeah, that is your family tree. That is how all the political stuff works. Now, here you have offices. So offices is basically like having a judge, having a mayor, stuff like that. So you can appoint anyone to any office, but they have to work their way from the bottom to the top. So for example, okay, he's already there. Who's this? This is this dude, right? No? It is this guy, Cannabis. Why is his name Cannabis? What the heck? But anyway, he's currently a companion. So if you put him in here, they have certain requirements. For example, companion, you have to be age rank 18. So you have to be over 18. You have to be rank 1, and it will cost you 20 influence. And then what will happen is you will earn personal influence plus 1 per influence earning situation. Recruitment cost for this guy and obviously any armies commanding will be minus 5% for the commanded force, and wealth will be plus 4% from agricultural buildings for all regions. So just from having this guy be a companion, it will affect all the regions in my empire. Now, as you can see over here, when you hover over him, he has terms in office. So he's spent 2 out of 8 terms in office. Once his time is out, he will exit the companion slot. He won't be there anymore. But after serving as a companion, oh, there's this guy. Okay, no, he's already an elder. Yeah. After serving as a companion, you can then have him take a higher office. So as you can see, required age, you have to be 22. Required rank is 2. So obviously he earns that rank from doing this. This is rank 1, rank 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to the top. And when you have him over here now, it gives you different buffs. For example, because this guy is here, I'm getting plus 5% wealth from industrial buildings across all regions. Construction cost is minus 5% in a governed province. He is actually a governor. So whichever province he's governing has slightly cheaper construction costs, and he gets some bonus influence. Obviously, he's got certain terms in office. Now, once he's done over here, I can then put him up to becoming a judge. As you can see, required age 26, he has to be over that age. And then obviously he has to be required rank 3. So 1, 2, he'll earn that once he finishes there. And then he can take over and become a judge. And this will give him other buffs, public order, tax rate, personal influence. And then it keeps going. Do I actually have anyone high enough to... No. Wait. No. Nope. Nope. Okay, so I don't have anyone that's higher yet. But once these guys are done here, I'll put them up to a judge. Then eventually I can push them up to a tribal chief. Then I can push them up to a warlord. Eventually I can push them up all the way to a high judge. And the reason you want to do this is because all these buffs add up, guys. You can have basically every noble. Okay, this guy can't have any spot. Why not? Let's see. He meets the age rank, he meets the required rank, he doesn't have the influence. He's got 3 influence and he needs 20 influence to take office. But yeah, you basically, anyone that meets the requirements, you can stick them into office. Like this guy, he can go into office, and I will be getting all these buffs. So if I have 4 companions, that's 4, 8, 12, 16. That is 16% more wealth from agricultural buildings across all regions. So this all adds up. That plus 16% wealth is going to be more money from all my agricultural buildings. Right now I have 3 elders. These 3 elders are giving me plus 15% wealth from industrial buildings across all regions. Doesn't matter if they're a general or not, because you don't have to be a governor. This is an all region buff, So I think you understand the importance of this, of making sure you have people in every office and making sure your family members, your other nobles make their way up all the way to the highest tier. Because if you have all of these filled, that's a lot of bonuses for you. Over here, you have the governor tab. This shows you all your territories and where you have governors. As you can see, I've got 4 governors assigned. There is 6 regions here, but I can only have a total of 4 governors at the moment. As my Imperium grows over here, it will allow me to unlock more governors. So yeah, I have 4 governors. You can see which regions they're governing there. You can see who's governing. You can see the edicts I've chosen, and you can see the empty spots. Now, if you go to Summary and you look at Imperium, Imperium is basically your accomplishments, right? And as your Imperium increases, you'll unlock more total armies, fleets, priests, spies, champions, and more governors. So yeah, right now, as you can see, I have great power, so that gives me a diplomatic thing. Eventually, once my Imperium is terrifying, I'll have a severe diplomatic penalty with most factions, but I'll have a lot more armies, a lot more fleets, and stuff that I can have. Over here, this is just a summary of all my diplomatic traits. So this I have my military allies, defensive allies, people I'm at war with, all my trade partners, etc. This again is all the traits that you saw earlier on the top middle of your screen. Here again is the religions. So you can have a look and have a breakdown of each religion, and you can convert to different religions once your following for a certain religion is over a certain percentage. So as you can see, cannot change religion, not enough for your population follow this religion, amount required is 35%. So right now, over 35% of my population are Greco-Roman pagans, so I could convert religion and make that my state religion. Right now, my state religion is Arian Christianity. Now, over here, you could start migration. Migrating just abandons all the settlements and turns you back into a horde action. So, yeah, that's what that is. Now, we've gone through most of the UI elements. We've gone through, stuff like your faction, your objectives, your trade and finance, technology, diplomacy, all that good stuff. Now, let's go through building chains. Let's go through cities. Let's talk about all the stuff that affect that, like public order, sanitation, all that good stuff. So, starting off with cities. So if you click on here, you will see all the cities that are within your province. So remember, each province is made up of 3 cities, and it shows you when you click on any of the cities in the province, it'll show you all 3. I can switch between them like this if I want, or I could click them on the map manually myself. It's up to you. Now, when you're over here, this is going to give you a lot of information as well. So one is, it's going to give you the name of your province, right? You click here, it'll show you the garrison for each province. So I can see the garrison for each of these cities. These actually have pretty decent garrisons. Over here, you can see any siege artillery you have. No siege artillery there. No siege artillery there, but I do have a fleet. So yeah, this is basically just going to show you the garrisons for each city. Now, this is your buildings, right? If you click here, it's going to be your building browser. I'm not going to go through the building browser too much. You can go through it yourself, but basically it just shows you all the buildings available to you. So if you want to have a look at what different buildings can provide, you can go over here, hover over it. You can see, this provides me with wealth, fletching, but it gives me negative public order and squalor. Over here, I can have a look, see what this does at max level. So yeah, that's just your building browser. Now, let me go over the rest of it. So the important part. So this is the province. This is the province of Italia. This is the city, right? So this is the city of Roma. This is the city of Florentia. These are all your buildings, and this is your growth. So if you have a look at growth, you can see growth creates population surplus, which is required to expand your city, allowing you to create more buildings. Growth next turn is 68. Growth factors 30, accumulated growth 38. Growth required for population surplus is 111. So I have to hit a certain amount of growth to get population surplus. What population surplus does is it unlocks this. So when I have 7 population surplus, this unlocks this new building stock, which means I'll be able to get a 5th building in Roma. If I get 4 population surplus, I'll be able to get another building in Florentia. So if you click over here, you can, see each of your cities that are within here, and you can have a look at growth. This green bar is how much of growth I have. That not green, that darker green part is the amount of growth I'm going to have next turn. So it shows you my projected growth basically. Now, when you're in your city view like this, you can see on the bottom left over here, public order, your food, your fertility level, your income, and the effects on your province. So if you look at public order here, or should I say religion first, you can see the religion for the specific province. So it doesn't matter, guys. Look, if I click across either city here, it doesn't matter, right? None of the stuff on the bottom left changes. That's because this is showing you the overall status for the province as a whole. It does not give you city by city info. So you can see that for this region of Italia, Arian Christianity is the dominant religion. The others are all going down. Arian Christianity is increasing by the green arrows. If you go over here, you can see your public order. Current public order is -65. Your change per turn is 1. And then it shows you what is contributing to that. So you can see contributing factors. Buildings are giving me 10 public order. Immigrants are giving me -6. Look at these immigrants, man. -6 public order due to them. Military presence is giving me difficulty, religious differences, taxes, military crackdown, all of that stuff. So it just shows you a breakdown of all the stuff contributing towards increasing and decreasing public order. So right now, the red face mask shows me my public order is negative, along with the number -65, and it shows I'm going to be getting +1 public order each turn. Obviously, when my building, for example, this one finishes, it's going to give me +13 public order from, I think, +7, which is the previous building. So that will increase that. Next up, you have your food and fertility. So food levels are over here. This is going to show you how much of food you're making for the province. So I'm making 147 food, 70 from buildings, 72 from fertility. What fertility is basically when you hover over a building like this, you can see that from these goat pens, I make 55 food from animal husbandry. So that counts as building, plus 36 additional food, plus 9 per local fertility level. So 9, 18, 27, 36. That means I have 4 fertility levels, which is producing plus 9 per level for a total of 36 food. So when you hover over your food and it says fertility, that's where that food is coming from. Buildings, that's where that food is coming from. Characters is obviously any governor. So the governor for my region is producing plus 5 food, whether that is due to equipment or whether that's due to his office. I'm not sure yet, but I can go and check that. Over here, you can see the fertility for the area. So the province of Italia has a fertility that is good. It would be excellent, but because the base fertility is 5, which is the highest, but it's currently at -1 fertility due to climate. Remember, in Attila, climate plays a massive part. As it goes on and everything becomes wintry and climate becomes terrible, fertility levels drop, food production goes lower. It's not a good thing, guys. Now, over here, you have your income. This is the income for your province as a whole. So it shows you your provincial wealth, which is, for me, 3,466 gold. It shows you your tax level, which is currently -2%. Immigrants plus 9%. Corruption level is -11. So it shows you your total income due to all those factors. Over here, you have your province effects. So unhappy populace. Yeah, so because public order is bad, it makes my growth bad, it makes my tax rate lower. Once this public order goes up and becomes positive, this will go up as well. Over here, bad summer, so 1 turn remaining, I'll have +10 growth, but I'll have -10 wealth from all agricultural and animal husbandry buildings. Province to each region means each region in the province. Over here, resettlement, this gives me a bonus of construction costs and growth. And these are basically just faction bonuses like this one here. This is interesting. So this is a wonder. So Neapolis, this city here, it actually contains a wonder. This is Mount Vesuvius, and this gives me religious influence +10 Roman. That doesn't help me at all, but it does give me +2% wealth from agricultural and animal husbandry buildings, and that is faction wide. Over here, there's another city, and the wonder is Rome. Region Roma, the eternal city. Settlement has high walls, wealth +10 from cultural buildings to the local province. Now, if I click on a different province, I can see the stuff for that. For example, over here, look at that growth next on 194, growth factor 32, accumulated growth 162, blah, blah, blah. So it shows me the growth. It shows me all the same information. Over here, you can see -77 public order, but I have +10 per turn. can see fertility level, I mean your total food, fertility levels over there, your total income again, and again it shows you all the different provincial effects. So remember, provincial effects are different per province. Over here, it's -8 tax and -4 growth. Over here, it's -8 growth and -16 tax. And that's because of how angry everyone is. I guess over here, yeah, we're at a lower public order than over here. I mean, yeah, the public order is better. Yeah, the public order is worse. But yeah, it's a massive, look at that, -16% tax rate. That is not good. That's going to be tax bill -13%. We're losing so much of money. We could be making like 13% more money. Over here, again, summer gives me bonus growth. And remember, this changes depending on your depending on the season. If it's summer, you get growth. If it's winter, it may probably be like negative growth or something like that. Summer and spring and autumn, they all have different effects, and you can check the effects on your provinces by clicking on a province and coming over here. The resettlement again, over here, consumption. So this is not good. This is due to pestilence. So pestilence will produce negative public order and give me minus wealth. And that is because, as you can see on the skull, this means people over here are sick because disease has broken out. And here we have another wonder, which is Ravenna, wealth plus 10% cultural buildings for local province. So now let's talk about sanitation, okay? Because sanitation is a pretty important thing. So if you have a look, you can see a red fountain. This is your sanitation and your squalor. So current sanitation is 5, current squalor is 7, which means my total sanitation is negative, which gives me a 3% chance of disease breaking out. And if you look here, you can see 0 sanitation, 2 squalor. And if we look over here, you can see 0 sanitation, 4 squalor. That's -2 total, -4 so total sanitation. So yeah, and that can cause disease. Now when disease breaks out, like it did over here, disease will give you negative public order and it will give you negative wealth. Now, another thing that it does is any armies in the region, for example, if I move this army to the region of Ravenna, they could get sick and they could contract the disease. When that happens, it's very, very bad because you cannot recover troops. For example, as you can see right now, my troops are replenishing. When you are sick, when your army is sick with disease, it does not recover troops. Instead, it will just stay sick and you will be unable to get rid of it, except by moving your army out to a region that has positive sanitation. So what that means is, right now, if my army was in Ravenna, they could get sick. If they got sick and they contracted a disease, the way to get rid of it would be to move my army to Verona or Aquileia, because both of them, as you can see, have positive sanitation. Total sanitation is +4, total sanitation is 0 over there, but it's fine, it's still green because we have 2 sanitation, 2 squalor, it cancels each other out, so the place is clean. So that is how you get rid of a diseased army, okay? 1, you just disband all the units and the general, you get rid of the entire army. Or 2, you move the army from the place where they are sick to another settlement that has positive sanitation. So, for example, if I moved this army, that got sick at Ravenna, if I moved them to Roma, Florentia, or Neapolis, they would remain sick, and they could even spread the disease. Yes, that is right. Your army that is sick, if you move it to another settlement that is not sick currently, they can spread the disease to the settlement you move them to. That is why you have to move it to a settlement with positive sanitation, okay? Because 1 is the disease won't spread because the settlement has positive sanitation, and 2, because that's the only way for your army to get rid of the disease. This army was diseased for quite a few turns before I was finally able to move them over, and now they are recovering their troops and they're replenishing, and I can recruit new units, and I'll be able to, send them back into war pretty soon. So, yeah. That is what your sanitation does. That is what your public order does. The rest of this stuff is pretty interesting. This just shows you your wall strength. I do not know what this cross is. It just says Pentarchy C. I think what that means is it's like, I don't know. Honestly, I have no clue. But yeah, if you overlook at Neapolis, it shows you just what they produce. But then again, you can also see that on the name on the map. Neapolis produces, I think this is salt. This is salt? Yeah, that's salt. Anywhere else, Dyrrhachium. You can see this produces, I think that's olive oil. Yeah, that's olive oil. So Dyrrhachium produces olive oil. And yeah, so that is your building menu. That is shows you your public order for your province. It shows you your food. It shows you your sanitation. That is how you get rid of disease. For a place that has negative disease like this, I just need to up my sanitation further so that I can hopefully get rid of this disease. It will run its course eventually. And yeah, I need to get this up here. That more positive sanitation will definitely help me out. Now, what are we going to go through next? Well, we're going to go through, well, pretty simply the edicts. So edicts are, well, you know when we went and we looked at governors, right? And you saw an edict here? Edicts are basically policies that you can enact per province that has a governor to give you certain bonuses. So right now, I have the resettlement edict. That gives me minus 10% construction cost, and it gives me positive growth. I can choose to have no edicts, but obviously there's no point to not having an edict. All edicts will give you some positive value. I could choose to have doctrines of Arius. This is an edict that increases morale training, it increases religious influence. This almsgiving edict increases tax rate by 5%. So when I'm done building and I don't need the construction cost bonus and the growth, I can change to this and get some tax rate. When I want, I can change to this edict, warrior rights, and get me some more bonus research speed for military developments, as well as some bonus unit recruitment experience. So yeah, those are your edicts. This is just the overview tab that makes that pop up and disappear. And this is to raise forces or recruit agents. So obviously, yeah, you click raise forces. You can choose someone to build. Okay, I'm currently too broke to do it. But yeah, you can choose a general. You can choose to raise an army or raise a fleet. Raising an army is a land army. Raising a fleet, obviously, is a fleet of ships. Reinstate Legacy is basically what this does is, okay, I cannot reinstate at the moment because I don't have any. But basically, what that means is, for example, if I click on this army is known as the Blood Boars, right? If this army is wiped out and they die completely, when I'm raising a new army, right, I can come over here, I can raise forces, I can choose whoever I want. Let's say Widimir, he's going to be my new general. Then instead of just raising a new army, I can reinstate Legacy. It will give me an option up here that will say the Blood Boars. I click on that and I click Reinstate Legacy. That means the new army I make will then be called the Blood Boars. And now you're probably wondering, so you're doing all that just to have the same name? No. What it does is it gives you the same upgrades that army had. For example, if I click over here, right? So if you click on any of your armies, whether it's this one, let me actually click one of these because these definitely have more upgrades done. And you go to the bottom left over here, you can see the general details and you can see the force details. If you click on force details, this shows you the traditions that this force has. So the Might of the Oak, okay? They have Wardens of the Tribe at level 1. They have Guerrilla Warfare at level 1. Hunters at level 1. They have Domestic Devotion level 1. They have Epic Camp Following at level 2. And as you can see, this is the summary of all the effects it gives. So when they're a Horde, Region and Province, Growth +4 to local province if they're in there, Wealth +10 to any local province they're in. Military Force, it gives them more integrity, reduces upkeep costs, increases replenishment, etc. So by reinstating a legacy, for example, let's say this army here, the Might of the Oak dies, I come over here, I recruit a new army, I choose my general, and I reinstate the legacy of the Might of the Oak. Then the new army that I make, that has reinstated the legacy of, they will start with all of these bonuses, which is very helpful because instead of having to, start with nothing and then go and fight and earn XP and then level that up slowly, right now, I will start with this, which is very helpful. Minus 8% upkeep cost for land units, +2 replenishment. So it's going to be cheaper for me to afford this army because upkeep will be cheaper every turn. They will replenish units faster and, have all these different buffs. So yeah, that is what Reinstatement of a Legacy is. It's very helpful. If we go over here, we can recruit agents. So this will be your agent tab. You can recruit spies, you can recruit priests, and you can recruit champions. And it tells you what building, Warlord's Hold. I need Harrian Hermitage, and I need Market Stalls. And then you can come over here, recruit your spies and stuff. Obviously, currently, I can't do that because I don't have any of those buildings unlocked. Now, so yeah, where can I? Oh, that's why I clicked the overview off there. But yeah, that's basically what you can do over there. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is character gear and character upgrades. So for generals, you can do it by clicking on them here, clicking on their army, clicking on them over there, whatever. And then you can click general details. this will again give you a skill tree for them, so you can upgrade each character, you know, and the stuff are pretty helpful. Let me actually click someone that is further upgraded. Click my faction leader, yeah, very helpful. So once, as you do battles with him, as he earns XP and influence, you'll unlock skill points, and you can come over here and upgrade his skill tree. So as you can see, when I get new skill points, I can upgrade this. This will give him more authority, more cunning, more zeal. Unit experience will be +1 for all recruits. That means if I hit this, if I upgrade this twice, you know, and get this level 2, any new troops I recruit are going to start with 2 bronze chevrons. This will give public order to local province, which means any province that this army is in with this general, you know, that it's going to be getting, well, it's going to be getting all these, well, okay, not these. These are character buffs for the army specifically. These are for the army, the military buffs. Where is the faction buffs? Yeah, this gives me faction buffs. This gives stuff from, ooh, this is what his wife does, actually, which is very helpful. Yeah, there we go, region and province. Any province he's in, some of them is only if he's governing that province. So this is if he's governing. He's not governing, so this will just be the local region one. So agent recruit experience, this gives stuff to all provinces, governed, local province, agent recruitment cost will be cheaper. So yeah, this is your skill tree for each character, and this is your household. So household is stuff you can change. I can change the household apparel to any of these items. And obviously each item has its own specific buffs and debuffs, as you can see, armor, morale, etc. If I want, I can replace this item and choose stuff from here. This will give construction, hostile agent. Yeah, each character can do this. So you can basically put gear or household items on every character. It also shows their wife as well as, you know, what she does. And this is the traits of your general as well as what each trait does. Lively gives more zeal, siege expert more morale, commando aura, harsh is minus public order, smooth walker more trade, whatever. Now another way to do it, because right now you're like, okay, so I can only do that for the generals or for everyone else. Well, you can do it for absolutely everyone. If someone is a governor, it doesn't matter where they are, you can go to each character. Okay, so these guys are candidates, they're not actually in my nobles, but you can go to each character, click on them, and you can click this view character details. Viewing character details will bring up the panel for the character, Vidimir, and you can then change his skills, change his household items, etc. Let me just show you again. I can do that there, I can do that there, I can click this guy, do it there, click this guy, do that, like that. So yeah, that is how you manage your character's skill tree as well as their personal household items. Now, we have gone through a lot of stuff. We have spent the last hour, I think, basically going through the UI, going through every little aspect of the game you need to know. So what are we going to be going through next? Well, that is very simple, and that is going to be your building chains. So building chains are the stuff that I would recommend, or that I think you should be building whenever you settle down and whenever you're building up your settlements. Now, for a horde faction is a faction that owns no settlements, for example, the Huns. Or if we go over here and we go to regions, yeah, you can see the Huns are a horde faction, the Visigoths are horde, Suebi, Isigeus, Langobards, etc., all horde factions. Horde factions can do the exact same thing. They can upgrade their buildings and stuff. However, their buildings are contained per an army. So what I mean by that is very simple, right? If you're a horde faction, instead of having settlements to upgrade, you'll click on an army and there'll be a tab up here. Now, there'll be a tab to switch between your army and to switch between the buildings in the army. So you can click on the army to see this, you know, see all the units over here. Or you can click on the tab next to it, and that will take you to your buildings, and it will bring up a menu very similar to this, to this menu over here. It'll show you your growth, it'll show you your building browser. It'll basically be this exact same menu, but contained within your horde. Okay? If you guys want a specific video covering that, I mean, it's basically the exact same thing as the city, it's just on a horde. I can do that, and I can make a video covering that. But yeah, for your building browser, or for your building build chain, there's a couple stuff I always recommend. So, 1, if a region has something unique, build it. For example, what I mean by that is it has resource. Neapolis has salt, always build that, okay? So you have salt works. Next up is if it's a port city, always build the ports. For example, Neapolis is a port, so I built the jetty. What type of port is up to you, okay? If you need food, you build a fishing jetty. If you want trade, so you want more money, you build a trade jetty. If you want more stuff for military, for example, more navy recruitment, if you want a bigger garrison, a bigger naval garrison, or you want to be able to unlock and recruit more naval units, you go for military jetties, okay? So this is going to be up to you guys. I've already told you how to manage your food. I've already told you how food. I've told you how public order. I've told you how all of that works. You need to manage that based on your situation, okay? So yeah, you have your jetties over here. Any naval cities or any cities that can build a jetty or a trade wharf, build it, okay? First thing, yeah, so what is this? Jetty, yeah, that's what it's called. So build your jetty for any cities that do have access to it. Next up, any unique stuff that you can build it. By unique stuff, I mean stuff specific to production of a resource. So salt works for the salt production here. If I go to Dyratium, because I have olive oil, I can produce olive fields. There we go, olive orchards over there. As you can see, olive trees, olive orchards upgraded all the way to a mill. Do I have anything else? Verona as well. As you can see, first thing to build is the production building for the olive oil. Now, after that, right? So after you've built your trade jetties for your city, if it has access to trade jetties, after you've built your resource production, if you do have a resource on the city, the next thing you're going to want to build is food, public order, and then sanitation, okay? So food is food production like this, goat pens over here. Over here, I actually don't have any food production outside of the jetty, but that's okay. Next up, you're going to want public order. Public order, for example, is this tavern. So you start off here with the town center, go to a meeting hall, taverns, go all the way down here. You can pick whichever route you want. Some produce more public order, some produce slightly less public order, but you know, they have other bonuses, like this gives research rate, this instead gives more public order and money, this gives you less money, less public order, but allows you to recruit champions and stuff which are different agents. So yeah, that is up to you guys, okay? But my general advice is obviously build jetties, build unique buildings for resource production, build food, then build public order, then build sanitation. Sanitation buildings are stuff like this. So the stores, these provide sanitation and food, or you can choose, where do I have waterworks? There we go. So I have the dikes over here. Starts off as a well, becomes a trough, becomes a dike, and eventually becomes canals. These provide sanitation to the region they're built in and sanitation to every other region in the province. So the reason I say build sanitation is because you don't want pestilence. You don't want your armies to be sick. You don't want to have to get rid of that. That's going to cause issues for you, especially if you're in the middle of a fight. So yeah, that's the building order for your buildings that I recommend. Now, obviously, you need to use your own logic, your own thinking. You need to decide what you need and what you don't need, okay? Like, yes, I said build jetties, then build unique stuff, right? That's pretty much going to be always. But for the rest of your buildings, right, I said build food, then I said build public order and sanitation. However, if you already have enough food production, for example, I have a lot of food production here, right? My public order is going up, it's going to be positive. My sanitation is positive except for here. So if that's all sorted, then what I can do is for my next building, I can choose to build something else instead. I can choose to build something that is going to give me, for example, civic. Let's go over here. I can choose to build something that is going to give me just money production or wealth, or is going to allow me to recruit agents. Like the fairground gives me spies. This will also give me a spy. Yeah, this is all spies. This will give me champions. Or I could choose to... nope, that's not what I want. Where are the artisans? There we go. I could choose to build artisans. Artisans are nice because they're going to provide me with good money. Obviously, it's a lot of squalor and negative public order. But again, if you have enough positive public order and you have good sanitation, that's fine. You can still go and upgrade to these. These also obviously provide you with recruitment for different stuff. For example, the woodcarver gives me onages. And once I get him up to a carpenter's guild, I get a large onager, which is very nice because, you know, large artillery can do a lot of damage. So yeah, that's going to be up to you. But for your building order, follow the basic building order I gave you and then change it as you see fit and based on whatever requirements you have for that province. Remember now, guys, food is dependent per region, okay? If you have positive food in this region and you have negative food in this region, if your army moves from the region with positive food to negative food, you're not going to be able to replenish troops in the region with negative food, okay? That is something you need to know. That is something you need to keep in mind. But yeah, I think this video has been an hour already. We have covered as much as possible. There's obviously still other stuff, like, for example, actually, let me just go over this quickly. So based on the region you're in, you're going to get different buffs or debuffs, right? So, for example, Mare Tyranium, I've controlled it, but you're going to lose wealth because of piracy. I'm going to be getting some bonus to naval replenishment, more imports, minus naval recruitment cost, which is nice. And then, as you can see, fleets will get attrition when they're in deep water. So if any of your fleets, for example, this fleet is moving through deep water, I am going to get attrition. As you can see over there, by the little skull icon, I'll get attrition. Over here, I won't be getting any attrition. And obviously, depending on your piracy, depending on stuff like that, it's going to change. So over here, minus 28% wealth from maritime commerce due to piracy. 28% there, 27% there. Oh my god, why is that place full of pirates? Minus 8% there. And you can also go and hover over land stuff. So, I mean, there's no trade routes over land that I currently have. But yeah, you can just go and check that out for yourself. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Again, leave me a comment down below if you want me to make a video covering any specific part or any specific mechanic that I mentioned in this video, or anything that I did not mention but I should have mentioned, okay? So leave me a comment and tell me, hey, I'm very interested in food, please do an in-depth guide on food. Or hey, I'm very interested in public order, please do an in-depth guide on public order. And I will do that. I will make a guide just solely focused on public order, going through each building that gives you public order, going through the best combinations of buildings that give you public order, going through, every single thing you need to know about that. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please do drop a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.